Hi, it's me, Sarah from Love Rebellion. This is the first video I'm making about how to craft things. You've seen me hand out hearts and stickers and stuff on the streets, and you've seen me talk about what love means and that kind of thing. But you have not yet seen me make things, and that's the biggest thing I do is make things. That's how I get the stuff I get to hand out to people on the street. And I just figured this is a good side to show you. The side where I am at my best, making things. I consider myself a crafty rebel. It's very easy to go to a store and just buy something that somebody has made for you in China. The harder thing and the more challenging thing is to make it for yourself. But it's also more rewarding because then you get to make what you want for yourself. And you're undermining the machine that wants you to be a consumer. You're taking your own free will and your own love and your own creative juice and you're creating your own world. And that is rebellious. So today I'm going to teach you how to make a heart, a felt heart with the word on it. To make these hearts, I have to have felt, ink, stamps, thread, needles. I have a ton of needles, scissors, fabric to put a word on, and felting needles. I also need a towel because, like a lot of crafts, needle felting is dangerous. You can get like hurt, not like severely hurt, but it hurts when you poke your finger with a needle. And like all good processes, crafting sometimes is dangerous. So keep that in mind. I like to do things that are also a little bit dangerous. So some of the videos that I make about making things will require a little bit of danger on my part, but I feel like it's worth it. So anyway, here I am about to make my heart, and I'm wondering, what word I should use. Like I've made hope, power, believe, and I'm making a heart. So, I could put the word love on there, but I think with a heart, it's already implied. And so I've decided that I'm going to use the word vigilance. The reason I'm using vigilance is because I believe it's very difficult to keep a loving heart open. There's a lot going on in the world and a lot of very hurt people. And people will strike out for reasons unbeknownst to you simply because they're in a pain you don't know of and you don't understand. So you have to be able to keep an open heart, and that requires vigilance, and it requires a kind of strength that is only built by focus and meditation and, a kind of constant awareness that people in pain very often inflict pain on others without knowing or wanting to or whatever. So vigilance is a good word for me, and so that's why I'm making this heart. I'm making it for myself as a reminder to keep an open heart. Now for felt colors, I've chosen, this rusty orange is kind of purple, blue, green, and I just start to tear it like this. When you tear the felt, it's like, I'm gonna lay some physics on you right now. What happens is that because it's torn, it takes up more space. The fibers aren't like laying down next to each other as evenly. They're getting like all bunched up or broken up, and the shorter the threads and the more torn up they are, the easier it will be to needle felt them. I know people who also do this and make shapes by putting them in like hot water and cold water and using soap and rubbing it and molding it with their hands. And I think that's awesome, but frankly it's not as dangerous, so why would I do that? I mean, I'm kind of kidding, but not really. I tried it myself and it just felt, honestly, it didn't feel like, when you're an artist you kind of have a way you like to work, and I like to work in a sculptural way. I'm more of a clay artist by nature. So I've torn up all the felt to my liking, and I have it in a ball. Then I take my needles, which I keep in a box because that way they won't accidentally stick me. And I take my towel. Here, I'm going to get up and sit on the couch. Take my towel, put it on my knee, because that helps. And I just start poking it. I use 2 needles at a time because it's faster that way. If you use 1 needle, it's fine. If you use 3 needles, it's fine. But for me, 2 needles is good because I can keep track of 2 needles. 3 needles, I can't keep track of. Sometimes I poke myself way too much. So here I am, just needle, 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 needle. And when I'm needling, I'm taking the needle completely out. See? So I do it enough on one side, like this. I turn it over, and I'm just really trying to get all of these felting, threading things condensed into a rough oval shape, a flat oval shape. See? See? That's pretty round and oval, and this is when I can start really, like, it's nice still and soft, and I can really start forming it into a heart. Okay, now that we have our heart, I'm going to show you what I do when I make the word to put on the heart. Okay, so what I do is I line up my letters the way I spell vigilance. I get out some fabric and the ink. You can use any color ink. I like using black with a red thread. I feel like it really adds a punch. And before I start, I just practice a little on the same fabric that I'm going to use just to make sure I'm doing the right kind of pressure. And I've done this before, so clearly I'm a pro, and I'm going to go ahead and start to ink up my letters and make a little sign. So what I want to do here is make sure that there's enough fabric around the word so that I can sew it properly, because when I get to sewing, I'm super sloppy, and I kind of love being sloppy, but I have to make sure that I leave enough room. So I ink that up. Okay, now that that's done, I take my scissors and I cut, as I said, with enough room for my sloppy sewing. Anyway, yeah, so I have to allow for my sloppy sewing, which I love. And it's kind of the same with the way I lettered this, is that I really like things not being perfect and neat. I'm a big fan of I guess just like a wabi-sabi or sloppiness of artness. So that will be my word, and I'll just look and see where I want to put it. Do I want to put it here? Do I want to put it there? I kind of like this red here, so I think I'm going to put it right there. Okay, so I have my needle and thread here. So what I do is I just basically put the thread through the needle. I'm not going to show you how I do that, mostly because you know how to do it, and also because I'm super old and it takes me forever to needle a thread or thread a needle. If I needled a thread, that would probably be even harder. I crack myself up. Anyway, so here we go. I have my word vigilance, I have my needle, I have my thread. And the first stitch I make is very often in a corner. And what I do is I try and make that as delicate as possible. What's going to happen is because the heart is so soft and it's not a dense material. I have to be very careful about how I needle into it. So then after I push it directly through the fabric, after that, I just keep going and keep doing that. But I mean, what can you do? This is the other part of being a crafter that is awesome, is that it's okay to be bad at stuff. Because generally speaking, like, everyone is bad at everything when they first try it. And, oh yeah, actually, here I go. This is another way you can do it, is you can put the needle in through the heart first and then through the little message. And you just always want to make sure to put the needle through that loop again. And then it gives you this really cool stitch. I'm sure it has a name, but I do not know what that is because, as I said, this is just something I started to do really at first to just like make a little money around Valentine's Day. But then I realized that I loved felting so much and I loved making these hearts with these words so much that I just kept doing it. And then I decided that I wanted to give them away. When I do Love Rebellion handouts now, like I have stickers that I give out, but I also like being able to give out like little handmade objects, things I've made myself. Like the stickers are really, they're cool because they're basically images of my drawings that I've made, but that's not really handmade, right? I mean, it's like giving somebody a Van Gogh mug, but not a Van Gogh painting. Not that I'm saying I'm Van Gogh, but you get my message, you get my idea. It's different. So yeah, basically it's that kind of a stitch. Okay, so I pretty much finished that up. The thing that you have to watch for when you're doing the sewing work is that you will pull threads out like that one. And so you just want to take your needles afterwards and just poke everything back in, Just get it all going on to your liking. Now, you might be somebody who really likes the sloppy look like I do, and you might even like it more than I do. You might like it so much that you want it to stay kind of sloppy. And I guess I wouldn't say sloppy is a bad word. I think it has bad connotations. But honestly, whenever I say sloppy, I'm saying it like, a beloved friend sloppiness, I believe that humans are not perfect. Humans are not neat. Humans are not perfectly aligned. And so I try to like keep a looseness in my artwork. Anything I make, my paintings, my sculpture, my drawings, I try to keep a looseness in it because, I know just as a human being, I'm not a perfect person. I don't know very many people who are, and I believe that striving for that can only really make you crazy. I know this just because I've tried before to be like a better crafts person or what have you, be a little bit more neat, but honestly, it just kind of feels better in my skin. It feels better in my bones to kind of just, let things lie. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. It's a pretty simple situation. You don't really have to put a word on there if you don't want to, obviously. It's just one of the things I like to do. It makes it special. And if you want to give these as gifts, you can come up with a word for every single person you know and put that word on a heart and think of the colors you want for that person, and you have a really cute little gift for somebody. Or like me, you can just like make yourself a heart. I mean, I've made so many. These are the little hearts that I make for my handouts once a month. I was just in Bend, Oregon this last time handing those out. And this next time I think I'm gonna go to a city either in Washington State or Idaho State, mostly because it's close and I don't really have a lot of money to spend to go somewhere like crazy in the country. But yeah, every week, in addition to my little 5-minute talks or 10-minute giveaways, I will also do a video on how to make something. And next week, I'm going to be showing you how to make found object sculptures. I know, it's pretty amazing. This is one of the found object sculptures I've made. It's an old whisk broom and a spigot for a hose and a little doll. And I put it on the spindle so it stands straight-ish. And it's called Cleaning is Scary. Anyway, that's what I'll be showing y'all next week, how to make a found object sculpture. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments or you can email me. You can go over to eloquentasfuck.com and read my writing. You can go over to A Love Rebellion and look at all the videos of my handouts. And go to Spike of All Trades and see all the art I've made over my entire life. It's all three websites with so much fun in it. So I'll see you next week.